This is a fascinating escalation of Shiru's abilities. If Shiru Emiya possessed absolute tracing, perfect projection, infinite comprehension, analysis and understanding of structures/concepts, and absolute reinforcement, he would cease to be merely a powerful magus and become something akin to a reality manipulator or a conceptual architect. Let's break down what this would mean for him. The apex of creation and understanding, Shiru Emiya, the Omniforge. Shiru's existing magecraft is rooted in his origin and element, sword, manifesting as the ability to perceive, understand and reproduce swords. This hypothetical upgrade takes that core principle and expands it infinitely, making him capable of understanding and affecting anything at its fundamental level. 1. Absolute tracing. As previously discussed, this means instant and flawless comprehension of any object, being, phenomenon or concept he perceives. He'd know its full history, every interaction, its complete molecular or conceptual blueprint, and all its inherent properties. 2. Perfect projection. Combined with absolute tracing, he could create flawless, permanent, and indistinguishable replicas of anything he understands. These wouldn't be temporary illusions or degraded copies, they would be true equivalents, even of divine constructs or conceptual phenomena. 3. Infinite comprehension, analysis, and understanding of structures/concepts. This is the truly game-changing addition, elevating him beyond just copying. Understanding the why. He wouldn't just know what something is or how it's made, but why it exists, how its fundamental laws operate, and what its ultimate purpose or potential is. This applies to physical objects, why a certain alloy is strong, abstract concepts, why justice is defined a certain way, or the mechanics of a specific true magic, or even the very fabric of reality. Deconstruction and reconstruction. He could perfectly deconstruct any structure, physical, magical, or conceptual, to its base components, then reconstruct it or even re-engineer it to be superior or to serve a different purpose. He could disassemble a spell, understand its components, and then build a better one. Conceptual manipulation. This is where it gets godlike. He could understand the structure of fate, time, causality, life, or death, as if they were blueprints. This doesn't necessarily mean he can change them on a whim, but he would understand the levers and mechanisms. For example, he could trace the concept of injury in a body and understand how to perfectly heal it, or trace the concept of a barrier and understand its conceptual weaknesses. Predictive mastery. His analysis of structures and concepts would allow him to perfectly predict outcomes, whether it's the trajectory of a complex spell, the collapse of a building, or the most probable future events stemming from current conditions. 4. Absolute reinforcement. This ability takes his most basic magecraft and scales it to omnipotent levels. Ultimate enhancement. He could reinforce anything, objects, living beings, concepts, or even himself to an absolute peak beyond conventional limits. Indestructible objects. Reinforce a blade to be truly unbreakable beyond any known material's limits. Superhuman attributes. Reinforce his own body to possess strength, speed, durability, and senses far exceeding any servant's, possibly even approaching conceptual invulnerability. Conceptual reinforcement. This is the wildest aspect. He could potentially reinforce the concept of an action, reinforce the act of striking to be absolute, or a property, reinforce the existence of this barrier. This borders on granting conceptual advantages. Restoration and perfection. Beyond just strengthening, he could use it to restore anything to a perfect, pristine state, free of damage, degradation, or even fundamental flaws. Implications for the Nasuverse. The unbeatable Omni-Creator, Shiru would become virtually unbeatable in any direct confrontation. He could perfectly counter any noble phantasm, regenerate from any injury, dismantle any spell, and create any solution. He wouldn't just be the strongest, he'd be the most capable. Beyond magecraft, he would transcend the limitations of conventional magecraft and even true magic. While he might not be able to replicate true magic's effects without understanding their conceptual structure, his comprehension would allow him to devise equivalent or superior mundane, or rather magical but not true magic, means to achieve the same results. The hero of justice absolute. His dream of being a hero of justice would become terrifyingly real. He could identify and dismantle the source of any conflict, cure any disease, prevent any disaster, and create a truly utopian world by understanding its conceptual requirements and manifesting them. The burden of omniscience. This level of power comes with immense psychological weight. Knowing everything, being able to do anything, perceiving all flaws and suffering, it could be a crushing burden, potentially leading to profound existential crises, or an almost alien detachment from humanity. He would see all the swords of tragedy, and be compelled to fix them. A new axis. He wouldn't just be a participant in world events, he'd be a fundamental axis around which reality itself could pivot. The moon cell, the root, other true magicians, and even concepts like Alaya and Gaia, would have to contend with a being who could understand and interact with their fundamental structures. The end of conflict? In a world where Shiryu exists, conflict as we know it might cease. His ability to understand the root causes of disputes, perfectly mediate, and even conceptually enforce peace could lead to a stable, if potentially stagnant, world. In essence, this Shiryu wouldn't just be strong, he'd be the ultimate problem solver and creator Dinta, capable of shaping reality itself through an unparalleled understanding of its underlying principles. He would be the apex smith, not just of swords, but of existence itself. What kind of challenge do you think could possibly test such a Shiryu?